Alright, so today I am reviewing the book V for Vendetta, which I became familiar with after watching the movie V for Vendetta, starring Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman. Hugo Weaving is awesome in that movie. Natalie Portman is like always the cutest, patootiest of actresses. And she's awesome in that movie, and she shaved her head for that movie. Her British accent could use a little bit of work, if we're being honest, but you know, she's so gorgeous that we'll forgive it. This is a graphic novel. It's like a comic book, you know. That's what the movie was based on. And something that I read after I finished this book was what the author and illustrator thought of the movie. So you've got David Lloyd as the illustrator. He liked the movie. Alan Moore, the writer, hated the V for Vendetta movie. He felt like it sucked the soul out of his writing, and they portrayed V in a way that he didn't appreciate. He felt like V was supposed to be more angry terrorist, whereas in the movie he came off more freedom fighter. And he felt like I had nothing to do with the movie. He felt like the directors Americanized the movie. And I don't know what he really meant by that. The movie takes place in Britain. Natalie Portman does her darndest at a British accent. I don't know what he meant by that. But yeah, he hated it, and he said that Hollywood stinks. So he didn't appreciate the movie. I thought that the movie was really good. I didn't appreciate the book as much as the movie, to be honest. The book sort of reads like a first draft of the movie. That's what I felt. Like the first draft that will turn into a really good movie, but so far it needs a decent amount of editing. It's the graphic novel is written in 3 parts, like book 1, book 2, book 3. But this is the full thing. And I thought that it seemed like maybe they had an overarching goal of where things were going to end up in the story, but there was just a lot of filler in between, and there was a lot of characters that they would flip between scenes. I feel the same way. Okay, maybe I should say my point first, but I feel the same way about TV shows that do this same thing sometimes. They'll flip between different characters' storylines very, very frequently, to the extent that they don't actually get anywhere really, and it almost feels like they're switching character perspectives so often in order to avoid you noticing that the plot's not really moving ahead in a way that is comfortable as a reader or a viewer. And so it's like they're trying to pull a little magic trick on you, that if they just show you so many different character storylines, then you'll think that we're getting somewhere. When actually it's going incredibly slow. So I felt like that. And another frustration that I had with the graphic novel is that I didn't think the illustrations were very good. I've read a decent amount of comic books, and I've read comic books that I felt had really good art, and here I did not feel that way. Let me see if I can find you an example. Like, look at how much black is on this page. So much of it is black. I don't know if it was David Lloyd personally who did the coloring. I know sometimes those are like two different jobs, but there was just so much black. And I'm trying to find an example for you. I should have done this before I started filming. Okay, look at this. Here. You got two guys in an office, but there's so much black and the coloring on them is exactly the same, to the extent that they're not so easily distinguishable. And there's a lot of government officials in this book whose storylines are followed a lot closer in the book than they are in the movie. And it felt like it was difficult visually to recognize which character was which. So oftentimes you'd be waiting for them to use somebody's name, but because you didn't have a face to go with the name, sometimes it was tricky to remember which character was which. Evie's a little bit different. In the book, Evie is a teenager who was about to start prostituting herself for the first time because her life is so out of hand when V finds her. And their dynamic was a lot different in the... Just a second. Okay, so I'm trying to remember now what I was saying. Their dynamic is a lot different. In the book, Evie is often frustrated with V because he speaks in a way that he doesn't really ever answer any of her questions, and she's very frustrated with him a lot of the time. In the movie, they have a better back and forth. I felt like there was more chemistry between the characters, not just romantically, but even in their friendship. There was a better connection between them than in the book. And in the best thing about V is the way he talks and the interesting things that he says. But in the book, because Evie was always getting so frustrated with that, it sort of started to feel like, okay, is this guy being annoying? Is he being a jerk by speaking in riddles all the time? That's what's kind of charming about the character. So I don't know. Anyways, so that's my review of V for Vendetta. I do like this art, though, on the very front. Sorry to David Lloyd if he was offended that I said there's just too much black. Like, there you see more. There's just a lot of black lines. And it makes it difficult. Like, it feels like there's not distinguishing features on the characters. Even between the women, like, the faces of all the women pretty much looked the same. And you would have to be like, oh, this girl's got this hair color, that guy's got that hair color, or the dialogue would be more distinguishing than the art. The way that they talked. One character had a thick accent, and so you always knew when it was him because you're reading a thick accent. But I don't know, I didn't love the art. The storyline could have used a lot of help. In my opinion, it got a lot of help when it came to the movie. I love that Hugo Weaving was in the movie. He was not originally the actor who was cast, but then the actor who was cast did not like wearing the mask, found it difficult to act with a mask on. And apparently he also said that he had some creative differences with the director, so maybe he would get along better with Alan Moore, I'm not sure. But regardless, he left the project. Hugo Weaving was brought in only a couple weeks in. He had to go and reshoot a ton of stuff. I think he's a great actor, and I think he did a great job in this movie. And so I guess to summarize, I do recommend the movie. I don't recommend the book, to be honest. It was okay. So if you're looking for an okay time and you loved the movie, sure. But all the best parts of the book are in the movie. And there's a bunch of, like, boring stuff in the book that I'm glad was edited out. So that's what I think. Have you watched V for Vendetta? Did you like the movie? Have you read the book? Did you like the book? Which did you prefer? Did you agree with the writer? Let me know in the comments. I hope that you guys are having a good day.